Welcome, Summoner, to League of Legends, and the community that is definitely not as toxic as the acid pool in Mortal Kombat 2. So, you want to learn one of the least favored roles in the game? Well, I got you covered. I do not claim to be this Diamond 1 Master Chief, but I do claim that after watching this, you will have the necessary tools to take on those dark, spooky things that lie within the jungle. Now I could just give you the end-all be-all and say here are the top 10 or top 5 champions to play in the jungle, but I'm not here to do that. We're here to learn the jungle. Just because you read on some forum that X champion is good at X position doesn't mean that you're going to be amazing at it first. Just like a baby, you must learn to crawl before you can walk. And since you're here, let me be in your corner rooting for you. Now without further ado, let us begin. Alright, so do you know where the jungle is? No? Well, let me tell you, it ain't here, or here. Now trust me, those places will come in handy later, but stay with me. These areas here, and yes, here are your bread and butter. Now for now, let's focus on the bottom side of the map and take baby steps. Starting on the bottom side of the map, we have 3 camps in the jungle and 1 camp in the river. Starting in the jungle, we have the Krugs, Raptors, and Red Brambleback. The 2 former only give you XP and gold, while the latter gives you a buff when you attack a target. They get slowed and have a damage over time effect, and while it's out of combat, you have increased health regeneration. And in the river, we have the Rift Scuttler, a little crab that goes back and forth between mid lane and bot lane, but once killing it, just like all monsters, it gives you XP and gold. But the Rift Scuttler does something more. It gives you a little bit of HP and mana on kill, but it will also play as a ward for your team for about a minute and a half and give you a little speed boost when you run on it. Off on the other side of the map, we have the other side of the river, Gromp, Wolves, and the Blue Sentinel. Now it's going to be a second verse, same as the first, where Gromp and Wolves are just gold and XP, while the Sentinel itself gives you a bit of a simpler buff than from Red Brambleback, but the blue buff will provide you with some ability haste and some mana or energy regeneration. Now for the river, there's also another Scuttle Crab roaming around. So you see in the both sides of the river, there's a pit on the top side and a pit on the bottom side that I clearly never talked about. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, it's about to get rough. Summer, would you look at the time? It's time for us to fight a dragon. Let's go down to Dragon Pit. Alright, so there's 5 types of drakes we're going to have to learn about. First off is the Infernal Drake, which once killed, you and your team get a buff of 4% damage. Next we have the Ocean Drake. Just like Red Buff, when you kill it, you get a health regeneration while you and your team are out of combat. Third, we have the Mountain Drake that gives you and your team a bonus armor and magic resistance by around 6%. Finally, we have the Vape Drake, also properly known as the Cloud Drake, which lowers your team's ult cooldowns by 5%. Now, with these said dragons above, you're most likely to see about 4 out of the 5 in theory. The first and second will always be different from each other, so you can have an Infernal Drake, then an Ocean Drake, or any combination. But after that, from dragons 3 to 7, they'll be the same, until one team has slayed 4 dragons. Finally, we have the mighty Elder Drake, which spawns 6 minutes after the fact you and your team defeated said 4 drakes, and which you and your team get a temporary buff that boosts your damage and gives a massive dot on the enemy, and once they fall below, I think, 10% HP, they are zapped. As for the other side, we have 2 things that spawn in the top pit. First being the Rift Herald that spawns a little bit after 10 minutes. Think of it as the absolute unit that doesn't miss a day at the gym, empowering your recall to be extremely fast if you collect its eye, and have the ability to call upon the said mighty beast and have it start wailing down on those turrets. As for the second camp, we have Mr. Voidworm, aka Baron Nashor. Consider him the base game end boss once the timer in your game passes 20 minutes. Upon defeating the mighty multi-mouth worm, your living teammates will receive a 3-minute buff, increasing their damage and empowered recall, and giving your minions some sauce if you catch my drift. Now, remember the map and how we've been focusing on one side? Just flip this camp over on the other side. Now, let's get into some real gameplay. So, obviously, as a jungler, you're going to start off with the Hail Blade or the Red Smite. Doesn't really matter. It's up to you. Right now, we're just going to cover basics. For me, right now, as you can see, I'm taking Blue Smite. The way to take away from this Blue Smite is it's more of a slow than Red Smite. You can see me and my team, we're going to go for an invade. Like most games, you don't have to do this. It's kind of optional. This is what I like to do. More like what we always do. Doesn't really matter if you start off getting the kill or not. As you can see, we get a lot out of this. We actually get first blood for Varus. Now, usually either after this, you can either go A, keep taking their jungle, or B, do what I'm doing, and that is going back to my blue to start doing the basic camps, which starts off with doing blue buff, then Gromp, then maybe come mid, or blue buff, Gromp, do wolves, etc, etc. We're going to cut a little bit later into the game to show you some ganks. So, we're back. After doing red, then Gromp, then wolves, I'm looking up top to find a gank, but first I want to just get my rotation done. Usually you want to do one side of the jungle, get your other buff, and then maybe look for a gank. As we can see in the mini-map, Ornn is very pushed up against our Garen, so I'm just looked for a gank. He's still up there. Always keep in mind, your mini-map is going to be one of your best tools. So, as you see, get red, I'm starting to move over, letting Garen know that I'm coming top. So we're going to be heading up there. I'm using my sweeper trinket just to make sure Ornn isn't being cheeky. Garen goes in at the perfect timing for me to just help him get that last little bit of damage and get first blood. Now, usually, depending on your champion, you can do one of two things. It's either, hey, I'm going to give it to you, or I'm going to take it. It's kind of give or take. If you know who you're playing with, let's say you're in a 5-man, then, like, let's say, my top laner is like diamond whatever player. Regardless, so finish the story. Anywho, sidetracking and digressing. I had a little bit of an error here. I should have probably focused the scuttle over trying to kill Kayn. Anyway, I got his Kayn's flash at the end of the day. I can't complain. He just doesn't have flash. A mobile champion without flash is kind of eh. But I mean, I'm also mobile, so it really doesn't matter. And you can see me here starting to clean up my camps, getting some more XP, trying to get ahead. Trying to, do proper things. Looking for mid, maybe a gank. But, Morgana is laying down the law and being assertive. As I said before, you want to have an unlocked camera. It's easier to do. You can just look, pan over, hold space like I'm doing right now, so it just kind of locks. I'm not looking to gank, using the minimap, looking down bot lane, looking for that gank. I'm let my bot lane know a little early, but Rel's going in for the stun. Luckily, we get the Vayne after our Varus. It's a bit of a pansy, but I don't think it was worth. So after the gank bot lane, I kind of do something you really shouldn't do, especially as a jungler nowadays. It's something very simple, something a little that can set you far behind, and that is overstaying your welcome. Basically what I'm saying is you don't want to, like, if you notice, I have 1600 gold now, almost 1700, and I still haven't backed. We're 5 minutes in. I should probably have backed by now, gotten some items, gotten some stuff started, but my personal thing is with Vi, I can kind of get away with a lot more just because of her kit and how I choose my runes and etc. You see me here coming up to mid, trying to maybe kill Neeko, maybe save it, but this is something we'd like to look at. Just something you should take note of. If they're pushed up, think you can just, make them back off. It's always a good thing. Help your laners, just, saying, hey, get the fuck off my tower, and, maybe punch them or something. Just try not to feed the enemy laner. That's the name of the game. So remember how I said overstaying your welcome in the jungle is a bad thing? As you can see, I have over 2,000 gold. Now, can I get the Kayn here? theoretically, yes, if I were to win a fight, if I were to have a fight right now with Kayn, I would win. As you can see, you know, I ult him, I bring him down to about 70% health. Senna comes in with the heal. I have 0 items. I flash. Vayne flashes and ults. Obviously gets the kill. If I had items, I would have been able to kill the Kayn as I ulted. Bada bing, bada boom, get in, get out. Luckily, Morgana's there to save the day, get some damage onto the Kayn as they're doing Dragon. Kayn clearly didn't have Smite for the fight, and inevitably, we lose Dragon to Senna, but it's fine. Our Morgana got 2 kills out of it. 2 for 1, kind of a good thing, especially since throughout the game, Morgana is doing really well. She's winning lane. She doesn't really need my help. Now, as you can see, this game has gone on. My team has been demolishing them, and every game won't be like this. This is a very rare thing where you click, everything goes perfectly well. We're gonna take a look in a little bit at some more less favorable matches. This is just, you know, look for some things. Here's like XY things you should be looking for, what you should be doing, etc. So here we are again. We're starting off another game. This time is a Mumu. We're going again with the Oracle Lens, Chillin' Smite, and refillable health potion. If you're jungling, 9 times out of 10 you should be taking that over the regular ones, just because of the fact over time, instead of having to buy more and more health pots, you just have one. It's just sound. Going for the same strat always. When I play with friends, we always do the same thing. We always line up in the bush. We either try to go in for the invade or not. We have one of my friends, Arts My Voices, Pike going in. You know, nothing really is happening. Their mid laner was in the bush waiting for us. We did burn a flash, which is theoretically worth it. That's another thing I should be covering. So, let's say you go in for a gank and nothing really happens. You know, you come in, you do everything perfectly fine. Your your top laner's there, they respond, but you don't get a kill, and you don't make them back though either. Nothing really happens, except you maybe have them like they almost kill you. And let's say we're going mid for this case, and let's say I come mid, and Katarina, I'm fighting with Twisted Fate. Katarina goes on me, she ignites me and flashes, but nothing else really happens. Like, me and Twisted Fate don't kill her, anything. It's still 100% worth. We're going in for a level 2 gank. It's a nice, easy thing. Twisted Fate always usually pick a card. You can see I had a little bit of a goof here. Twisted Fate has a point and click stun, and I completely zoned out and forgot about that, and I screwed up. Now, what could have happened better there is I waited for the pick a card and then just stunned. That is what I should have done in the first place. Can that be rectified throughout a game? Yes, you can, just tell your jungler, hey, I fucked up, I should have done this, and they're like, alright, cool, whatever. I didn't say that because me, Renji, Niku, and Arts My Voice, we were all in Discord together, chatting, and he was yelling at me, and I was like, I'm sorry. Anywho, so, that kill in mid lane kind of puts Katarina ahead. For Twisted Fate kind of needs to ramp up with items, and so does Cat. So if Cat has 1 kill, it's pretty much, at least in my experience, usually game over. And it just ramps up, and I may or may not be foreshadowing this match. Anywho, as you see, starting on the red side, I do red buff, then go mid lane, come to blue, then do Gromp to get level 3. That is my most favored route I like to do, because usually I can make a play mid lane and it goes well. This time I screwed up. It's whatever. Live and learn. Sometimes you just forget, and nobody's perfect. Yeah. So remember how I said to live and learn, usually talk with your laners about said things and how we can rectify these said horrible ganks throughout the match. Well, we talked about it, and lo and behold, we wait for the stun. Katarina goes in. There's a bit of minion, so I can't bandage toss immediately. We get the kill on Katarina. It's great. I wanted my mid laner to get it so he can get ahead, but it's Katarina. She probably had Shampoo up in a couple seconds. He would have died. She dropped Shampoo, drop it, throw dagger, Shampoo, 2-set dagger, and killed Twisted Fate again. That was a textbook style gank. We used our laner stuff. We come here to help with the Viego gank. And we have Katarina, who has TP, who goes after me. Now this is a good thing. Both of Viego is more of an assassin brawler. Katarina is just an assassin. I would rather have them not split up because Katarina can easily catch up to Twisted Fate. Viego could have easily caught up to him. So them both going to me, great plan. I mean, I died, but it was the lesser of two evils, and they took the bait. So we jump a little further into the game, and if you notice, my team isn't doing well. My score is great, but there's a thing. Certain junglers really can't do much when it comes to the whole carrying thing. Like, if, let's say, I don't know, Twisted Fate was... his kills and deaths were reversed, it'd been great. We're gonna skip to the rest of the end game. Nothing else pretty much happens impactfully, but as I said with the Vi game, sometimes there's some champions that just can't carry a game alone, and that's a moo. Like, there a lot of the tanks like can carry a lot, and it's true. Like, a tank can carry a team, but the team has to have some sort of, it has to be a pretty close game. So if, the Katarina didn't have as many kills, if Senna wasn't as fed, if Marluxian was better, all these factors play into the fact that just because I'm fed, it doesn't mean that we're gonna win. And this game is very apparent of it. Some little takeaways, snippets, what say? Getting into the jungle, it is going to be one of the hardest lanes to learn because there's so much you have to do. You have to learn your rotations, your timers. To recap, most of your major buff timers, your dragons, your barons, your blue buff, your red buff, your herald, all of these are going to be on your timer when you press tab and you see them. They're always, as long as you have vision of your buffs, those you'll know when they're up. You're gonna die a lot. You're gonna have to learn. This game is not, it's easy to pick up and say, hey, I'm gonna play League of Legends, but it's even more difficult to say, hey, I'm gonna pick up this game and I'm going to learn my role. That takes time and effort, and if you're starting off learning how to play jungle, well, kudos to you. I myself started off playing as a support, and then I moved throughout the lanes, learned them, and then found myself in the jungle. Now, I've been playing since Season 3. You'd think, oh, he's skilled enough to carry a team as a tank. This game is a team game, remember that. It's not always about you. It's about what you and your team can do. The jungler is the secondary support to the support class. Or role, except that you are the in support to the entire team. You help the laners out. You help them get the kills. They help you get kills in turn. Having a great team, try learning with friends. That is the way I learned. That's how I started playing the game, and that's how I love playing this game. Now, yes, the community can be toxic, which is an understatement. But, we don't look at the forums and anything because, it's scary in there. That's why I play with friends. I never play this game alone. And when I do, it just goes horrible. And I get into, these really dark places and get really toxic. But that's besides the point. will I ever actually yell at, players? No, I have never yelled at an actual player. I've never popped off and been like this really toxic person. Never. It's not me. Like, we're having a decent team fight here, but it's not going to be enough. There were some mistakes. We have already lost our mid laner and our ADC, and it's now just set me and Pyke. Pyke is our support. He's an assassin. Yes, he has an execute, but it's the Katarina is too fed. Final recap: you're gonna die again. You're gonna get some great plays. You're gonna have fun. Play it with friends. Do what you like, and do what you love. Peace.